pleasure to introduce the Prime Minister of Australia, Mr. Paul Keating, to officially launch the International Year of the World's Indigenous People.
Sol, the Mayor of South Sydney, Vic Smith, my ministerial colleague Robert Tickner, the Leader of the Opposition and his Deputy, Bob Carr and Andrew F. Shorgie, distinguished members of Parliament, guests, ladies and gentlemen. That is perhaps the point of this year of the world's Indigenous people, to bring the dispossessed out of the shadows, to recognise that they are part of us, that we cannot give Indigenous Australians up without giving up many of our own deeply held values, much of our identity, and indeed our own humanity. The starting point might be to recognise that the problem starts with us, the non-Aboriginal Australians. It begins, I think, with an act of recognition. Recognition that it was we who did the dispossessing. We took the traditional lands and smashed the traditional way of life. We brought the diseases and the alcohol. We committed the murders. We took the children from their mothers. We practiced discrimination and exclusion. It was our ignorance and our prejudice and our failure to imagine that these things could be done to us. But there's one thing today we cannot imagine. We cannot imagine that the descendants of people whose genius and resilience maintained a culture here through 50,000 years or more, through cataclysmic changes to the climate and the environment, and who then survived 2 centuries of dispossession and abuse, will be denied their place in the modern Australian nations. We can't imagine that. We cannot imagine that we'll fail. And with the spirit that is here today, I'm confident that we won't fail. I'm confident we will succeed in this decade. Thank you very much for listening to me.